All right, so we are recording and we've got perfect. We've got this one. And let me check Zoom. We're all good on Zoom. And all right. Good deal, good deal. Gonna share my screen here. Perfect. So we're going to talk about this is particularly for real estate agents and how real estate agents can add revenue without selling more houses. Now, we're going to talk about 4 ethical revenue streams that are built around clients, relationships, and opportunities that you already have inside of your business. So it's not like you're going out and creating something else. You're not having to do anything additional. You're literally just using the data that you already have. So it doesn't get any easier than using the leads that you already have. So I'm going to talk to you about that, and then we're going to move on. So let's jump right in here. All right. So most agents, and we've talked about this before. If you've ever been on one of these calls, we've talked about before how most agents, they only get paid at one point in the relationship. So the typical sequence of everything goes from lead, follow-up, consultation, then they go to a lender, and if they get lucky, they'll start their property search. And then once they start the property search, then they'll get into contract, and then they close. But the problem with that is that the agent is only getting paid one time in this whole thing. So if they're only getting paid one time in this whole thing, there's so many things that can go wrong. So the buyer is denied, the seller delays the listing, the client needs credit support. Renters need more time. The investor doesn't have the capital they need. The lead disappears, right? We've already been through ghost leads before. The business owner isn't ready. The transaction falls apart. All of those things can happen, but the problem is the agent only gets paid one time. That's the problem. So let's look at this as a whole. This is an elite problem, right? You have relationships that you can already take advantage of. You have past clients, self-employed clients, social media followers, other agents that will send you deals, decline buyers, business owners, community relationships, rentals, referral partners, vendors, real estate investors, open house leads, and other contractors. So there's no reason why you can't utilize the leads that you already have. Right? Like you have a full pipeline already. And I don't know a single real estate agent that doesn't have access to all of these. Right? I don't. So when you look at the average agent, now you might get offended, and it's cool, right? We still family at the end, but most agents are running their business like a side hustle. So like a random side hustle, it's unrelated. You're trying to build new stuff with leads. You're distracted. You're creating like confusing positioning. The clients your clients don't know what you're doing. You're going to damage your professional credibility. But if you have a connected client ecosystem, then what that does is it solves existing client problems. You're able to build on the current relationships. It complements your actual real estate business. You're able to strengthen your positioning. But then also you're creating multiple service pathways for your clients so that you can create multiple sources of income using your one. And you produce long-term value. So essentially you become the plug. But here are the 4 pillars: business funding, credit solutions, education, and strategic partnerships. Let's talk about each one of them. Business funding. This is where you're helping qualified business owners and investors get capital for their business. If they need help with credit, this is creating a pathway for your clients who are not currently financially ready with their credit. Education. Sometimes your clients just need to attend a workshop. They need to get into some sort of mentorship. They need some education because, believe it or not, a lot of people are in a position where nobody ever told them about financial literacy. And if you're purchasing a home, you need to know something about money because something is going to happen. Trust me on this. And then the other pillar is building strategic partnerships. This is where you create collaborative revenue opportunities while expanding your client support. So you offer other people who service your same client, you offer those services to your existing client base. And by default, you get paid because your partners get paid. Your partners, then in turn, they return the favor and they shoot you a few deals every now and then. It works out perfectly every single time. So let's see here. But let's dive even deeper. So let's go into revenue ecosystem map. So branch one is funding. Branch two, we're looking at credit. Branch three, education. Branch four, partnerships. So with branch one, funding, these are people that you're going to utilize who have business owners, they're investors, they have funding assessments, and they go into a qualified provider. The funding transaction happens, and then they can then use that to potentially purchase real estate. With credit challenge buyers, they have a credit review, they go through a restoration plan, then they go through lender readiness, they get a pre-approval, then you can close, then you get paid, right? If they're into education, agent, professional seeking training, then they go to a workshop, membership, they start implementing, and then they have ongoing support in a community forum. And then last one is partnerships. Your client has partnered with one of your specialized needs clients, with one of your specialized needs partners, and they come up with a qualified strategic plan for them. They deliver the service, the relationship is retained. So with all four of these situations, you are the plug. You as a real estate agent are the plug. There's no reason why you should only be getting paid off of one transaction. No reason. The idea in real estate is relationships, relationships, relationships. And any professional, who's even made a taste of money will tell you that the most important part of real estate is the relationships. So let's dig even deeper into pillar one. So for pillar one, we've got business funding. Now, your database already contains business owners who need more than real estate. So if you already know entrepreneurs, if you already know contractors, developers, investors, short-term rental operators, retailers, self-employed buyers, consultants, their common capital needs are marketing, equipment, renovations, working capital, hiring, payroll, business expansion, technology, blah, 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 preserving cash flows, travel even, right? And they're also preparing for future real estate opportunities. So that's how you plug them in with the business. Just so you know, it looks like this. The agent identifies the need of their client. The client gives permission. The agent makes a warm handoff. The funding team assesses. The client submits the documentation. The options are reviewed. The client decides. The provider completes the transaction. Relationship returns to nurture and is positioned for future real estate deals. Now, I know those 10 steps seem very, very long, but imagine skipping one of them, right? Like imagine if that client we just sent over an offer, right? And didn't consult them. But the bottom line is they're positioned for future real estate deals, right? They're positioned to return to a process where they're getting nurtured. All of that. Okay. All right. Now, here's the script that you use if you're trying to tell your clients that you help them, you have a plug for them to get business funding. You say, and you can screenshot this, that's cool. A lot of my clients are business owners, investors, and entrepreneurs. In addition to real estate, I have a relationship with a team that helps qualified businesses explore funding options for working capital, expansion, equipment, marketing, and other legitimate business needs. If assessing capital will help you move forward, I can make an introduction and let the funding team determine what options may be available. Nowhere in there are you saying that you're an expert in funding. Nowhere in there are you selling anything. You're simply making an introduction, right? So this doesn't promise an approval. This doesn't quote terms unless you're authorized to do so. You haven't told the client to misstate like revenue or use of funds. You haven't pressured them to borrow anything, and you haven't positioned them to have debt. What you did do is you clearly disclose any applicable relationships. You clearly disclose compensation structure, right? You did make a clean, warm handoff, and then you let the professionals handle the underwriting, right? Because if you're the real estate agent, you're the real estate agent professional, right? That's your lane. If you're handing this off to a business funding team, let the business funding team do all the talking. Like, don't you try to sell anything. It's the worst thing you could do, okay? Perfect. Pillar 2, credit solutions. A credit challenged buyer is not automatically a dead lead. I can tell you how many real estate agents stop working with people just because they have bad credit. Which, that's wild, because people who have bad credit, they want help with it. So they're going to go to somebody who's going to help them. Why isn't it you? So some common obstacles are low credit scores, collections, late payments, thin credit profiles, documentation problems, charge-offs, high utilization, debt to income challenges. All of that can be helped with credit solutions. But the problem is, as soon as you get a denial or as soon as you see a low credit score, you start working with your client. Then you start working with them, then you're complaining because they never came back to you. Is it there? Right? So it looks like when the client goes to the closing pipeline, right? So we've got, there we go. So we get a lead, the credit and readiness review, personalized action plan, restoration and optimization, progress tracking, lender readiness review, pre-approval, home search, underwriting, closing. Now, the reason why I give you all of the steps, you don't need all of these steps, right? You don't need to know all of these steps, but I give you all of these steps so that you know exactly what's happening with your client. This involves the agent, the credit provider, the lender, and the client. There are 4 parties involved here. Every single one of them needs to help each other, right? Every single one of them feeds the other. Make sense? Bad. All right, let me take a question right here. How do we know? Let's see, what is this? Zoom. Okay, the Zoom question over here says, who's this? Jacob. Okay. Jacob said, how do we know what the client will qualify for? That's the thing. You don't know what your client qualifies for, and you shouldn't be guessing what your client qualifies for. Okay. So, but the correct solutions revenue model. An agent may create value by referring clients to a qualified credit provider, and where lawful, properly structured, permitted by brokerage policy, and fully disclosed. I always make sure I have this in here just because there are rules and regulations that we have to follow as a team to make sure that everybody stays in regulation. Okay. So what we do, we have a system where we help real estate agents close deals just through the click of a button. So when you have a client who they decide like, hey, you know what? I'm ready to purchase a home, but I'm not financially ready. Once you're partner with us, we give you special pricing. Our credit repair is $2,500, right? But as a partner, you get access to a $4,000 and you can share that with your clients, right? So clients referred by approved Upstatus Capital partners, they may receive access to special partner pricing on eligible services, right? So you're able to offer your client eligible services like credit repair. And this is going to help you provide a meaningful client benefit, differentiate their services, right? Create a fine next step after denial. So after you told them no, you have something for them versus just telling them no. You get to maintain the relationship. You get to build a future buyer pipeline. You don't lose your client. Now, we also teach a strategy where we guarantee that client is going to come back to you. I can't say guarantee, right? But we're pretty sure that client is going to come back to you. And honestly, just save that for the inner circle. So they heard about it last night, but we save it for the inner circle and people who are already partnered with us. We show you how to make sure that client comes back to you. Now, the pillar 3 is education. Your knowledge can become an asset without becoming a sales pitch. So provide your clients with free education. It builds trust, audience, authority, and it builds your pipeline, right? So imagine just having a lead magnet. Maybe that lead magnet is if you're a first-time home buyer, like what does that look like for you, right? So you have paid education also. It provides a defined curriculum, implementation support, resources, accountability, or access beyond general marketing content. Now, if you have a paid education platform, make sure you're ready to be of service, right? I've talked to Zane probably 5 times today, and I loved every single call. Right? Why? Because for one, we're working on a project together, we do a deal together, but also because he had some questions. And because he hasn't invested himself, I have a job to make sure that I get his questions answered, right? So get you some help. Don't go out here like either you're going to start your own paid thing. Don't go out here just like you just flying by the seat of your draws, right? Country girl from North Carolina, but you flying by the seat of your draws out here. right? People pay for structure, implementation, access, and transformation. They're not wanting the basic information that they're finding everywhere. Nobody's going to pay you for the same information that they can get off, some free website that 10 other people have used today, right? And posted about and ran a play. So just keep that in mind as well. So the first thing you do is you build an education revenue ladder, right? So level 1 is your free social content. And everyone, if you're a real estate agent, you should be posting content. I don't know why you would. You should be posting content. You should have free live workshops and webinars. Level 3 is having a low-cost guide, toolkit, or mini course, a paid community or membership, group coaching or implementation, brokerage, team, or corporate training. And the last thing that you should be doing is strategic consulting or customized infrastructure. But if you have information that other people don't have, you should definitely have a community or some sort of learning that you're able to offer your partners, other agents who are just coming in, or something like that, right? You should be able to sell your information. Fair? Good deal, good deal. All right, perfect. So I have a question over here. Jacob again. Jacob says, how do we know when it's time to start selling our information? When people keep asking you questions, and it's like that same line of questioning, you should probably start charging people for something, right? And honestly, people pay for you to get to the point with them versus them wandering all over the internet to have to find an answer. It's so much easier for the inner circle to send me a question rather than searching through 29 YouTube videos and trying to find an answer. They know I already have the answer, so they just ask me. And if I don't know the answer, then it's my job to search through the 29 YouTube videos or ask my coach, right? So just make sure that you're following this, because you do have another way to make money other than what you're already doing, and you can't make money until you get to the closing table. That's a dangerous place to be. Okay, so here's the education offer builder. And I didn't even realize I dropped this in here, but so all good, all good. So here's your core offer statement. I help self-employed buyers achieve, they become mortgage ready by teaching and implementing a 90-day credit optimization plan through our interactive workshop and community, right? So that can be a core statement, but notice it says, I help who you help achieve whatever that outcome is by whatever you're doing and how you do it, okay? So this offer in particular has the variables, like the audience is the self-employed buyer. The desired outcome is they want to become mortgage ready. The systems and implementation is a 90-day credit optimization plan. But the format of it is like a workshop or a community. So that's full implementation. And then the last pillar of this is strategic partnerships. You do not need to deliver every service yourself. I'm going to say this again. You don't need to deliver every service yourself. Some high value partners for a real estate agent is credit professionals, mortgage professionals, tax professionals, attorneys, contractors, home inspectors, marketing professionals, brokerages, business funding specialists, car insurance professionals, CPAs and accountants, financial planners, property managers, business consultants, community organizers, chambers and associations. These are all people that you need to have in your pocket. Every single one of them. Because the right partnership can get you to where you want to go a whole lot faster. But the right partnership is also going to, above all, create so much value in the marketplace that you cannot be denied. So you get to solve real client problems. You get to improve the client experience. You get to have a clear handoff process. You get to define responsibilities. But also, besides all of this, you get to make sure your clients have measurable value for everyone involved. And when someone has measurable value for you, you're going to hang out with them a lot longer, and they're going to hang out with you a lot longer. Okay. So let's look at this. The partnership filter. Okay. If you have let's say if you have a reputation, and I'm going to keep all of these in the middle, right? Reputation. Your reputation is a 3 out of 5, responsive 3 out of 5, client experience is a 3 out of 5, your communication is a 3 out of 5, alignment with your audience is a 3 out of 5, your willingness to collaborate, 3 out of 5, service, compliance, pricing, documentation, handling volume, long-term strategic value. There's a lot of due diligence that you're leaving on the table, right? So because you're lacking in all of these areas, right, or because you're falling short, or your services may be lackluster, right? I don't know if y'all say that anywhere else. We say it in North Carolina, lackluster. But every partner becomes an extension of your brand. So you need to make sure that where you fall short at or what you don't know, you have partners to fulfill those for you. Here is like legitimate revenue versus prohibited referral fees. Make sure you check the rules and regulations of your area before you start saying you collecting referral fees. And let's see here. There we go. Let's do a database audit. Now, a lot of people on here, let me see, who's an agent on here? Okay, Travis, Jonathan, Jacob. Where are you an agent at, Jacob? Okay, Durham. All right, perfect. So if you have 100 past clients, 25 buyers, 50 renters, 15 investors, 20 self-employed, 10 business owners, agent relationships, vendor relationships, unconverted leads. This is total 470 contacts, right? 470 contacts. Now, if let's say 9 of them need funding, 15 of them need credit, 25 of them need more education, and 5 of them need more partnerships, then this means you have a lot of potential conversations over here, right? Those are a lot of potential conversations. Why aren't you having these conversations? Right? Like, why aren't you connecting with the people who you already have access to and having conversations with them to shoot them different services? Because the more value you provide to them, the more they're going to remember your name, right? Here's a revenue opportunity calculator. Now, let's say you make, for business funding, let's say someone sends over, this is going to be fun. Someone asked about this last night on our Inner Circle call. So let's say you make, I'm even going to stretch here because you got a database. So let's say you send over 10 introductions, right? 50% of them get assessments. About 25% of them accept. And you send over 15 monthly introductions for credit repair. And their enrollment, because the price is so good, they get you special pricing. Their enrollment is at 50%. And then you have, say, 10 people, right, that you're charging $197 for. You're charging $197 per month for education, and your expense for that is $500. And then you have strategic partnerships where if your engagement, say, is 5, right? Your average compensation for them is $500, no expenses for that. That's a monthly gross income of over $10,000. Over $10,000 just for being connected. You didn't do anything here, right? You just made connections. So if you aren't helping people make connections, then for an extra 10 racks a month, like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So connections, just by connecting. It's called middleman marketing, right? You're in the middle. So that revenue diversification dashboard, that's how we see how much revenue you are missing. And I just told you it's like $10,000. So the goal is not to replace real estate. The goal is to make business less dependent on single transactions. This is what we talked about at the very beginning. The goal is to make sure that you're not having to worry about you have to close a deal before you actually get paid. Because each one of these we talked about, none of them have anything to do with a closing. Nothing. Business funding, credit solutions, education, or strategic partnerships. None of them have anything to do with closing, right? So here's how your operating model should look. The agents that we all partner with this is how their model looks. On Mondays, they review their pipeline, identify client needs. Tuesdays, they make warm introductions to their partners, to their strategic partners. On Wednesday, publish educational content or host a short training. On Thursday, they follow up with clients and partners. On Friday, they review outcomes, documentation, and revenue tracking, right? So the monthly cadence is partner review, compliance, database, educational workshops, revenue stream analysis. If the system cannot operate consistently, it's not a revenue stream. It's just another unfinished product, right? So make sure that you're being consistent with all of this so that you can see the difference. But $10,000 a month, I mean, that should make you want to be consistent, right? That should make you want to make some connections. That should make you want to make some shake for your people, right? That should make you want to do something a little extra. So here's the one conversation framework. All right. This is giving out all the secrets, right? Uncover needs without forcing a sale. So this is how you talk to your client. What are you working towards professionally or financially? This is what you're asking. Like, what are you working towards professionally or financially? What is currently preventing you from moving forward? Is the obstacle credit, capital, information, timing, or access to the right professional? Would an introduction to a qualified resource be helpful? May I stay connected and follow up on your process? So you identify the need, you get permission, and then you create the right next step for them. You already have access, right? You're not trying to manipulate them into a sale. What you're trying to do is guide them to the direction they need to go, which is the direction that they said they need to go, right? So you're going to get them from point A to point B to eventually a closing table just by making these connections. They're not going to forget it. So I'm going to give you a 30-day implementation plan, right? And I'm going to check back with you. If you have watched it this far, I want you to make sure that you check back in here. So week 1, you're going to do an audit. So review your database, identify the recurrent client problems. Like if you're talking to somebody all the time and you hear one rejection and it's that very same one, then you take a look and see exactly what that rejection is, right? And you select one revenue pillar. You review your policies, you review compliance, and then week 2, you select a qualified partner. So if a lot of your clients are going through credit issues, shameless plug, you contact us, right? So you select a qualified partner, you complete your due diligence, you define whoever is going to be responsible, you establish some agreement, and then you create a client handoff process, right? That might look like a joint text message. That might look like you setting up an appointment for the client. That's what that might look like. Week 3, you're going to launch, right? You're going to contact the small pilot group. You're going to use the scripts that we talked about earlier. You're going to track how many introductions, because here's the thing. If your closing rate is 20%, and that means 1 out of 5 people is going to close. If you only talk to 4 people, the 5th one, that's probably the deal that you were going to get, right? So you want to make sure that you're tracking all of this. You're going to collect client feedback. You're going to correct process breakdowns. And week 4, you're going to optimize all of this. So review your conversion data. You're going to review the client experience. You're going to review compliance. You're going to improve and follow up. And then you're going to decide whether to expand or not, right? Decide what you're going to double down on. But start with 1. Prove the process, then you grow it. So here's the Upstatus Capital Partnership model. This is what we teach inside of the cash flow department. As an agent, you identify the client needs, right? You obtain permission, you make the introduction, and you maintain the primary membership, your primary relationship. This is your client. And you continuously follow up with real estate. Then where we come in at, we conduct the financial services assessment. We explain available programs. We handle service delivery. We provide status updates where authorized. And then we support your client's next financial milestone. So that's business funding, credit repair. If they're looking for financial services like a loan, private money, we help them with that. And then for clients, they get the experience of getting accurate information, reviewing all terms, make independent decisions, complete the required action, and maintaining communication. Notice all 3 of these work together, right? One doesn't shake without the other. All 3 of these work together simultaneously. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the cash department link down under this video, and I look forward to seeing you inside. Right now, we're very excited about having new partners. We've onboarded quite a few partners who are real estate agents and growing their business over the last couple weeks. So just super excited about that. We're located in North Carolina, South Carolina area. We do work across all 50 states. So if you are a real estate agent and you have not yet identified how to make money without selling a house, I need you to connect with me. Okay. I need you to connect with the team. I need you to get locked in so you can stop leaving money on the table. Because as we looked at, it doesn't take a lot to make you an extra 10K a month. I don't know about you, but an extra 10K a month makes a difference in my house. Okay. That makes a huge amount of difference. So, but yeah, like this is good. This is great. I enjoy doing these types of calls. I enjoy working with real estate agents. And like I said, I'm going to drop a partner link down below. You can hop in the cash flow department. You can also just decide you want to become a partner, but I want you to understand exactly what it is that you're getting into. So I'm Mo the Closer. I'll see you at the bank.